Hey guys, Kevin Downey from Kevin M. Downey. Thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. This video is the everything you need to know video, and I'm specifically speaking about our agency, our offerings, what we do for clients, what it costs, all the details involved. If you want a short version, I'll link the less than the 3-minute video, although it ended up longer than 3 minutes, in the description. But that's going to be a much more shorter look and just a quick look at our service offerings and our rate cards and pricing, what's included. And that video is much, much shorter, so you can take a look at that. But this is the deep dive video, everything you need to know. So we're going to go through a whole slew of screens in this video. I want to walk through everything about recruiting and how we place reps, how we evaluate reps, all that stuff. And then, of course, email marketing setup for clients that I do called Lead Machine Email Marketing Setup Program. I want to walk through that and the details involved in that. So thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate it. All right, our website, if you haven't been there, kevinmdowney.com. You've got a bunch of stuff here, tons of information and content. You can take Aptive Index if you haven't taken that as an assessment. Take it, blow you away. People get confused. They think it's an intelligence or an IQ or an EQ assessment tool. It is not. It actually measures motivational drives. You want to look at that. It is so cool. Send you a report. You'll learn a lot about yourself that you already knew, and you can't believe that something like that takes 8 to 10 minutes can be that accurate. But that'll blow you away. And if you need to schedule a call, it's up here in the upper right-hand corner. Okay. All right, let's work through our programs really quick and what's included, and then some details on each of the programs. So Blue Chip Recruiting Program, we've been around for over 10 years recruiting sales and business development reps for our clients. We recruit everything from, local in-house sales and business development reps to outside territorial sales reps to remote, obviously remote candidates in the United States. And we also recruit remote candidates in Latin America for obviously the cost savings, much lower cost of living, lower base salaries. So we've been recruiting talent for clients and placing for, again, over a decade. We work on a contingency basis with recruiting, means you don't pay any money up front. You sign a proposal. We get to work sourcing candidates. We bring them in via a funnel. We run them through an assessment. Aptive Index, assess where they fit in terms of sales. Are they a fit for sales, and what type of sales are they built for? Okay. And then obviously you work with the dedicated recruiter in my agency. You work with them to interview all the candidates you want. You make your selection. You engage, whether they're independent contractor or you hire them as a W-2. And then we send you invoice, we get paid, and then we do the other work that is part of the program, okay? So we have two rates. The rack rate's $9,500. We offer a 50% off rate for our RTG candidate pool, okay? And that's it. That's Blue Chip Recruiting Program is one program with two rates, okay? What is $4,750? What does RTG mean? So it's down in the footnote here. $4,750 is when we're recruiting from our RTG or ready-to-go candidate pool. Those are remote sales and business development candidates who want to work from home office, okay, like a lot of reps do. They're not going to travel. They're not going to do the road. We can't specify location, right? We're talking about we are recruiting all of the United States every day, along with 48 countries in Latin America. So we get about 100 to 200 plus candidates a day. From that candidate pool, we get some exceptional talent. And so if you need inside sales or business development rep, perfect opportunity because it is so low cost from a placement standpoint, and we include so much. But you're looking at a $4,750 one-time placement fee. Again, you pay nothing up front. You get a dedicated recruiter. We build custom prospect list. I work on train the rep on business development, help you build out your process. And then we're running all of the U.S. candidates through Aptive Index. Okay, and I'll show you that here in a minute. And then we offer a 60-day rep replacement guarantee. Okay. All right. So when does the rate need to be rack rate $9,500? So when we have to recruit local in-house in your location, we need to recruit a specific outside territory, say in the Northeast or New York or Chicago, whatever. Okay. Or you're looking for very specific industry experience. Then we are going to run our full rate program at $9,500 placement fee. There's just a lot more involved. Obviously, we have to do a lot more customization of our marketing to go out and find the candidates for you and everything else that is involved. So we're at $9,500 one-time placement fee when we have to do that. Okay, everything else stays the same. Okay, let's take a look at a few things regarding recruiting. So this is what a candidate dashboard looks like. This is assessment match to the particular position. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second on Aptive Index. We get a lot of information from candidates. I have to move myself on the screen, but you get name, city and state, the recruiter rating, notes from the recruiter. Sometimes they have to make notes, obviously, of when they've connected with a candidate, so on and so forth. Their match percentage on Aptive Index for the position. Do they have any cold calling experience? Very important for most B2B positions that we're going to fill. Resume, obviously, first year OTE comp requirements. So what do they have to make first year minimum, right? Doesn't have to be base salary, but what is the minimum they've got to make? That's important because we don't want to be recruiting reps for clients that need to make $175,000 when the first year OTE on your position is only going to be $80,000 or $85,000, right? That makes no sense. You're going to hire them and they're going to be looking for a job right away. It's a waste of time for you. Education, contact information, all that stuff. Okay. That's what a candidate dashboard looks like. We're working with your recruiter. They can put you on the dashboard. You can look at every single candidate that they're interviewing and screening and all that stuff. You can look at every resume. You can look at every assessment result, or your recruiter can just send you the best of the best by email. What a lot of clients like that are my recruiters do that. Okay. So that's what that looks like. Let's take a quick peek at, I'll look at prospect list last. But let's look at assessment. Going to give you an example. So this is for a particular position. This is a BDR role. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Aptive Index, okay, check it out. Oh, please take it. Again, there's a link on our website. You might have a link from me. If you haven't taken it, please take it. It is not a judgment of you. Trust me. All it is doing is measuring motivational drives. And when you know that, you know what kind of job someone's a fit for. You know whether or not they're a fit for sales and what type of sales they're a fit for. I'm going to show you that here in a second. Okay. It measures technically 8 drives. In this case, you're only seeing the 4 on the screen. I'm going to switch to some other screens where you can see it. But influence, sociability, consistency, and precision. Okay. And it's also measuring emotional resonance, what's called prosocial intensity and abstraction. Okay. What does this all mean? So the reason why this is important when we are recruiting for sales in the United States, Latin America, we get video introduction from the candidates because we have to gauge English speaking skills. That's the thing we have to get. So for Latin America, when you work with a recruiter, if we're recruiting Latin America for you, they're going to send you candidate resumes along with video and comp requirements because you're going to want to hear the rep speak, right? That's critical with Latin America, right? In the United States, though, we really want assessment because it's more important, generally speaking, we're talking about good English speaking skills, right? So we want to find out, are they built for sales and what type of sales are they built for? Okay. So let's take a look at just a handful. Now we've got some base profiles. So what we do here at Kevin Downey, we've got some base profiles: SDR, farmer sales, one call closer, hunter sales, and BDR. I'm going to show you 3 of them just for example's sake for you. From those 5, we build every client's position. Okay, and some of them stay the same as the models that we have. Some we adjust a little bit, depending on the role after having a conversation with you about your position and all that stuff. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at 3 different sales roles. And I talk about this in other videos, and recently on a podcast I was on, we talked about this at length. Okay, let's take a look at farmer sales versus hunter sales versus BDR. 3 of the most common things that we deal with in B2B recruiting for sales, right? 3 very different types of motivational drive patterns. Yet companies really get confused on what they're hiring because everyone is so focused out there because obviously this kind of assessment is not the norm. So many companies are focused on resume and experience and industry experience and network and book of business and all that stuff, which at the end of the day means almost nothing because it never bears out. As far as percentages, it's some of the lowest. Resume is one of the lowest predictors of success that there is. This is one of the highest. Right? Technically, it's number 2 to 3 out of 20-something that you can use. Okay, that's going to predict success in a job. Okay, let's just walk through. I'm not going to go through I talk about the drives in another video at length, but let's talk about the difference in these three. Farmer sales. Farmer sales, they go out and they get the customer, but they keep the customer. They sell to the customer continuously. May call them an account manager, may call them an account executive. Okay. They are going and getting the customer, and then they're selling to them consistently, filling in inventory, cross-selling, upselling, all that stuff. They're maintaining regular sales communication with that customer base. Okay. Influence, sociability, consistency, precision. What are we looking for? We're looking for, on the right side of the line, sociability is the big one. They have to want to have a connection with people. That's what we want. That's what they are built for. That's what they're wired for. That's what they want to do. They're going to be excellent at that. Okay? It's different than a hunter sale. Hunter sales, this is someone who does not maintain an ongoing relationship with a customer base. They go out and get paper, and then that customer gets handed to a fulfillment team of some kind. Can be some kind of inside account manager, could be client support, customer service, could be whatever the role is, right? Inside that deals with the customer ongoing. Hunter sales rep might touch base with them once a year just to maintain contact. That's not a farmer, that's a hunter. Their job's to get paper. Their job's to go get the customer in B2B. Okay? What are we looking for here? High influence. Right side of the line. Big time, high intensity. They want to control things. They want to drive the bus. Right? They want to drive the bus for themselves and what they do day to day. They need to do that. It is critical that they are that kind of profile for a hunter sales model. But they are not going to be very good at business development because they don't want to do it because they're not built for it. And that is one of the biggest mistakes everyone makes in B2B hiring. We hire sales reps and then ask them to go do business development, especially in a hunter sales model, because they think that, well, if they're a great sales rep, they should be able to go generate leads. But they don't want to generate leads. That's not what they want to do. They want to sell. Right? And it's a big difference today than it was 30, 40 years ago when we could go out and we could visit 30 people on prospecting and boots on the ground and talk to 15 or 20 decision makers because we were spending a lot of time selling and presenting, very quickly finding out pain point and generating leads. It's different today. We don't have that kind of connection rate. So we have to be careful about how we build our sales teams. Okay? Very important. High influence. Big key for a hunter sale. But this is where everybody gets it wrong. We want leads and appointments. We don't want salespeople. We want a BDR. So if you're a small business owner and you could take appointments and you could sell your own stuff, right? Don't go hire a sales rep. Go hire a BDR. BDR that's built for cold outreach, right? What are we looking at here? All right, decent sociability, high consistency. They don't need it high. We don't even want to be high influence. Right? Relatively low emotional resonance and intensity. Why? Because they're going to be doing the same thing over and over again, 50 to 150 times a day. Right? Same thing. Yes, the outcome's going to change. Tons of voicemails, tons of not interested or whatever. But they're going to find out, they're going to gather intel. They're going to find decision makers. They're going to generate leads, all that stuff. So they're going to have all kinds of outcomes that are different. But the pattern is the same. Day after day after day after day, hour after hour. That's a BDR, high consistency. They want the routine. They need it. They need the pattern. That's what they want to do. A little bit of sociability is good, right? Low emotional resonance. Why? Because we need them to shake off all the voicemails in the negative, right? And intensity, relatively low mid, because if we have too high of intensity, they're going to burn out on this kind of job. This is the Energizer Bunny. They just go. They just go and go and go and go like a machine. That's what a BDR is. And when we're recruiting for a business development representative, that's why when we look at the match percentage, we're looking for very particular types of not only match percentage, but then background to know that they've done business development in a BD. If we're hiring for BDR, we want that match and we want BDR experience in sales or business development doing cold outreach. And that they know going into the job, that's the job. It's not a sales job, it's a BDR job, right? We're not flitting around on LinkedIn. We're not playing patty cake on email or the CRM. Our job's to call, right? And that's why we have a CRM build, and I can't show you client stuff here. I kind of have to hide it. But that's why on the CRM build we have on Monday.com, that's why we have this template for clients, because this is built 100% for a rep to do cold outreach, nonstop, all day, every day, okay? And that's what you want in a BDR, all right? So that's what we do in our blue chip recruiting program, going out, finding talent. We place the talent with you. When you hire, we get paid. Then we go build prospect list, which I'll show you that really quick. Build prospect list, build the business development process, all that stuff. I've got a knowledge base on that if you want to check it out. It's underneath the Ultimate Business Sales and Business Development Guide for B2B owners. I've got some mock stuff in here and how we build out a process and all that stuff. Sample voicemail, sample pitch, sample email, all that kind of thing. Okay. But that's what that program includes, and everything is included in that. So if you're looking for a BDR, you're looking for sales, we're about as good a resource as you're going to find great sales talent. Okay, for the cost, it's just there's really not any agencies that really compete with us, right? If you're looking for a pure headhunter to go steal an employed person from a competitor to bring them to you, then go hire a headhunter. We're not headhunters in that regard, right? That's a totally different game and a much, much more expensive proposition, right? Because you have a very limited talent pool, and the recruiters are having to do very manualized outreach to very particular sets of people. Might only be 100 people in the country to talk to. Might only be 5 or 10 in an entire state or metro to talk to, right? That's that's a headhunter, right? That kind of person is going to run you 15 to 35% of first year base. So if you got a base comp at 150, you do the math. 20%, that's 30 grand, right? That's an entirely different ballgame. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at prospect list. I forgot to show you prospect list. This is how we build prospect lists in Apollo. We also do this as part of email infrastructure setup. I've built 1,000 lists over 10 years, sent over 100 and some million emails for clients. But this is what building prospect lists looks like, including email lists. Okay. So let's talk about that program. Lead Machine email marketing setup program. So I did email for clients, managed email for clients for 8 years, sent 110 million emails for clients. I know what works and what doesn't. I failed on the front end for sure. For the first few months, it was definitely tough, right? Had to learn. I followed what everybody else did. We did sequences. We did try to drive them, market to them, try to drive them to calls, drive them to calendars, drive them to pages. Doesn't work, right? The way you use email is the same thing we do with a rep on a pitch, right? And I'm going to show you that here in a minute with a sample. Okay. But this is the email marketing setup program. Lead Machine is what we call it. $5,600 one-time setup fee. And then I work with you to show you as a client or a member of your team how to manage the campaigns, which is so simple. It takes 15 minutes a week tops. It's an hour to 2 hours a month tops to manage email marketing, okay? Once you get the hang of it, and obviously the infrastructure build is the hardest part. I have enough experience in working with clients over the years that this is where they all are challenged. It's why everybody uses their CRM, really. They don't know what they don't know, number one. And number two, they're already on their CRM, so they learn how to connect the email address and then send their low volume of stuff. That's not going to work to drive leads every day. Lead Machine's about sending high volume, right? Turnkey email setup with ability to send 6,000 emails a day. You can layer that. You can do as many as you want. At one time for one client, I was sending 30,000 and for a very short stretch, 36,000 emails a day. They had a very large prospect list. We include 50,000 contacts with verified email addresses. The setup includes all the infrastructure, domains, DNS settings, email addresses, email API or server, and campaign management system. Email copywriting obviously is very important, and unlimited support for 90 days. It takes no time once I get the setup done with a client. It takes no time. 2 or 3 calls at most over maybe a 3 to 6 week span to just review adding a step, if you will, to a sequence. And I don't like that term, but that is the technical term that we're using, so that you can re-email everybody that didn't reply or unsubscribe. That's it. It's so simple, right? But the infrastructure build and connecting everything and building the prospect list and loading all of that, that's really the hard part at first for most companies, right? And that's what this is all about. Building that infrastructure, getting it all set up, getting it turned on, and then showing you how to manage it. And it's just a matter of going in, and every 30 days you have to add, every month you're just adding another step of some kind, right? Another email that's going to go to everybody in that audience, and it's going to rotate them or send them at a rate of 6,000 a day, okay? If we're using one domain and email address, okay? All right, let's take a look at email copy. Oh, let's see here. This always takes a little while to load when I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to show you a spin text email and a non-spin text email, but nonetheless, this is cold email 101. This is what an email should look like right here. All right. Block style copy. Mask the front end of the email about what it's about. And look for a reply. It's the same thing we teach on the phone. Johnny, do you have this pain point? If you do, we can help you solve it, or I can help you solve it. This is what I want you to do next. I want you to reply, and I'm going to send you X. Okay? Why are we doing that? A number of reasons. Number one, we're identifying a decision maker with a pain point because they're not going to reply unless they're really interested. Number two, for health of infrastructure, we need replies. Clicks doesn't mean anything. We need replies. That's engagement with your email. That's important for the health of the infrastructure. Okay. And finally, that block style copy forces them to read it. And I had to take a long time to learn how to do this, right? It took a lot of trial and error. But I can assure you it is the number one way to generate leads in B2B. Number one, hands down. There is nothing that can touch email when it's done properly. Most companies, I looked at probably 250 setups over 8 years, and I only saw 3 good ones. 2 of them were done by the founders of the company when they were really small. And then one team of a CRO and a VP of marketing together figured out how to do email correctly. Everything else, everybody else was doing stuff on their CRM, sending their little sequences, tying their email addresses in, and sending their 25 to 100 emails a day. That's not going to cut it. It's a volume game. It's a numbers game, no matter what anybody tells you. They tell you anything else, they're lying. It's just a fact, right? How good can it do? Under optimal circumstances recently, and we never measured client campaigns, but on ours, I can say on 12,000 emails in one day, 40 to 45 leads is about as good as you're going to do. Okay. So 20 something leads, 20 leads or so on 6,000 emails would be extraordinarily high. Normal, couple, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Okay. Depends on what you're pitching and to whom, right? There's so many things that go into it. Okay. From an infrastructure standpoint, we're looking at email API combined with Apollo is our preferred. We also can build server structure combined with a campaign management system like SmartLead. Preferred is Apollo because you already have the data there. It's much easier to manage. And then you have the email API, you connect it, and that allows you to send the volume, right? Because you're not sending through the email address, you're sending through the email API. Okay. That's it. It's that simple. And building prospect lists looks like this. But anyway, if you have questions on that, you want to dig into that program. Again, $5,600 one-time setup fee, 2 payments of $2,800 is fine. And then you'll be up and rolling. Full volume takes 6 weeks. So from the start of engagement, get things built, get it launched, which we can do very quickly. Once you get it launched, you're looking at 6 weeks to get the full volume, which is 6,000 a day. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, reach out to us, kevinmdowney.com. Schedule a call is in the upper right-hand corner. Again, if you haven't taken Aptive Index, take it. It is phenomenal. It'll blow you away. You'll get a PDF so you can read it. And once you read it, you're going to be like, holy cow, how does it do that in something that only takes 8 to 10 minutes to do? Right? And it's amazing. And once you understand it, you'll never look at hiring or managing people the same way again. It'll change everything about what you do in those capacities. Okay? All right. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for taking the time. Best of luck in business in 26, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.